Have you ever noticed that the more available you are to everyone, the less they seem to value you? The more you say yes, the faster they forget your worth. It's not because you aren't valuable, it's because you've made your presence too easy to access. This speech is not just about being less friendly. It's about protecting your energy, demanding respect, and reclaiming your self-worth in a world that constantly wants to take more than it gives. So stay till the end, because what you'll hear today might just change the way you see yourself forever. Being friendly is beautiful. It's a reflection of warmth, empathy, and kindness. But when friendliness turns into over-availability, it stops being a strength and starts becoming a weakness. You give too much time to people who give you excuses. You show too much care to those who barely notice your efforts. You're always there. And that's exactly why they stop showing up for you. Here's the truth. When you are always available, people stop asking if you're free. They start assuming you'll adjust. When you're too kind, people stop thanking you. They start expecting it. And when you don't draw boundaries, you're teaching the world that your time and emotions are cheap. But you're not cheap. Your kindness is not something to be used, something to be earned. Respect comes when people realize they can't have access to you whenever they please. You have to retrain people on how to treat you. Start saying no without guilt. Start showing up for yourself first. Start protecting your peace, because not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Remember this: being selective is not being rude. Protecting your space is not being arrogant. Walking away from disrespect is not weakness. It's wisdom. You don't need to be available to prove your value. Your absence can speak louder than your presence ever could. There's something fascinating about human nature. We always value what's rare, what's hard to get, what requires effort to attain. Think about it. Diamonds are just stones until we realize how rare they are. Limited editions are just products until someone tells us only a few exist. And people, yes, people, are no different. The truth is, when you make yourself too available, when you are always the one saying yes, always the one showing up, always the one adjusting, people stop seeing your worth. It's not because they're bad people. It's because that's how the human mind works. We are wired to treasure what feels exclusive. When something or someone is always within reach, it loses its sense of value. You can be the most talented, loving, loyal person in someone's life, but if you don't know how to protect your time and presence, people will start to take you for granted, not out of cruelty, but out of familiarity. You've probably experienced this. You're always there for your friends, every late night call, every crisis, every favor. You cancel your own plans to make time for them, thinking that's what good people do. And maybe it is at first. But over time, you start to notice something painful. They don't thank you like they used to. They don't show up for you in the same way. You feel invisible. And the reason is simple. Your availability has turned into their expectation. Respect comes from rarity. When you value your own time and energy, others learn to do the same. When you say, I can't make it today, you're not being rude. You're reminding people that your presence is not guaranteed. When you stop responding immediately to every call, every text, every demand for attention, you're teaching others that you have priorities and that you, too, deserve to be prioritized. Being constantly available might make you feel useful for a moment, but it drains your worth in the long run. The world starts to assume you'll always be there. And the saddest part, they'll only realize your value when you finally stop showing up. But here's the shift. The moment you stop overgiving, the moment you stop being too accessible, people begin to notice. They start to appreciate your time. They start to respect your boundaries. They start to earn what they once took for granted. It's not about playing games or pretending to be distant. It's about understanding that your presence is a privilege, not a promise. Think of yourself as a limited edition. There's only one of you. Only one person with your energy, your ideas, your compassion. You can't give that away freely to everyone who asks for it. Because when you do, you dilute your own essence. You spread yourself thin until there's nothing left for you. There's a reason why the most confident, respected people in the world are not the most available. It's because they know their worth. They don't chase validation. They don't beg for attention. They allow their value to speak through their actions. They understand that being selective is a form of self-respect. If you've ever felt like people don't appreciate you, stop giving them endless access. If they always expect you to fix things, stop showing up every time they call. Watch what happens. Watch how silence suddenly becomes louder than your words. Watch how distance suddenly creates desire. Because when you step back, people finally have the space to see your worth. Remember, respect isn't given to what's easily available, it's earned by what's not easily replaceable. And you, no matter who you are not replaceable. You are not ordinary. Your kindness, your effort, your attention, they have value. But they only have value when you treat them as such. So, the next time you feel guilty for saying no, remind yourself that boundaries are not walls. They're filters. They don't push good people away. They protect you from the ones who don't deserve your time. When you limit your availability, you increase your value. Don't let the world drain your spirit just because you have a giving heart. Be kind, but not constantly available. Be generous, but not endlessly accessible. Be caring, but not careless with your energy. Because in the end, people may love your kindness, but they'll only respect your rarity. And when you start valuing yourself this way, you'll notice something incredible. The world begins to mirror that respect back to you. When you think about the word boundaries, what comes to mind? For many, it sounds harsh, like a wall or a barrier between people. But in truth, boundaries aren't walls that keep others out. They're gates that protect your peace. Boundaries don't make you distant. They make you clear. And clarity is what defines value. Because when people know where the line is, they learn how to treat you. Too often, we confuse being kind with being available, being helpful with being used, being friendly with being taken for granted. You tell yourself, it's okay, I'll manage every time someone crosses a line. You convince yourself that staying quiet will keep the peace. But what you don't realize is, every time you ignore your discomfort, you teach people that it's okay to disrespect you. Every time you say yes when your heart says no, you trade your peace for approval. And here's the truth. No one will ever respect boundaries that you don't enforce. You can't expect people to honor limits that you never express. Your silence becomes permission. Your forgiveness becomes an open invitation for repeated disrespect. Boundaries are not about cutting people off. They're about showing people how to love and respect you properly. When you say, I don't appreciate being spoken to that way, you're not being rude. You're defining what's acceptable in your space. When you say, I can't take that call right now, you're not ignoring someone. You're prioritizing your mental health. The strongest people are not the ones who say yes to everything. They're the ones who have the courage to say no when it matters. Think of it like this. Imagine you're holding a glass of water. It's full, clear, and precious. Every time someone demands your attention, your energy, your time, you pour a little out. A little for work, a little for friends, a little for family, a little for people who never pour back. By the end of the day, you're empty. Not because you didn't care, but because you didn't protect your own supply. Boundaries are the lid on that glass. They keep you from running dry. People may not like your boundaries at first, especially those who benefited from your lack of them. When you start saying no, those who were used to your constant yes will call you distant, selfish, or changed. But that's okay. You're not here to please everyone. You're here to respect yourself. Because the truth is, people who genuinely care about you will never be offended by your limits. They'll be grateful for them. Boundaries don't push real people away. They push manipulators, takers, and users out of your life. When you draw a line, you're declaring to the world, I know my worth, and value always rises with scarcity. Just like a rare painting becomes priceless because not everyone can touch it. Your time becomes valuable when you make it exclusive. You can't be available to everyone and still expect to be respected by all. You can't be the person who always adjusts and still demand equality in relationships. At some point, you must stop stretching yourself to fit everyone else's comfort. Some people won't understand your boundaries because they never had any of their own. They'll label your self-respect as attitude. But don't let that shake you. Growth often looks like distance. And distance isn't rejection. It's protection. You're not walking away from people. You're walking toward peace. The day you start enforcing boundaries is the day you'll notice your confidence rising. You'll walk differently. You'll speak differently. You'll stop apologizing for existing. You'll stop chasing approval and start attracting respect. Because when you define your limits, you teach the world that your energy is sacred. Never forget you are not responsible for how others feel about your boundaries. You are responsible for maintaining them. The people who belong in your life will respect them. The ones who don't were never meant to stay. So if you've been feeling drained, disrespected, or unseen, pause. Take a step back. Ask yourself, where have I allowed too much access? Then start taking that access back piece by piece. It's not about shutting people out. It's about protecting your space so you can show up stronger, healthier, and more present for those who truly matter. Boundaries define value because they separate what's important from what's unnecessary, what's genuine from what's draining, and what's love from what's control. The moment you start setting them, your life begins to change. Your relationships improve, your peace returns, and most importantly, you begin to respect yourself again. Because at the end of the day, respect doesn't come from how much you give. It comes from how much you refuse to lose. And when you protect your boundaries, you protect your worth. There's a fine line between being friendly and being foolish, and most of us cross it without realizing it. We grow up believing that being nice will make people like us. That kindness will always bring kindness in return. But life doesn't always work that way. Sometimes, the more you give, the less you're valued. Sometimes, the softer you speak, the more people raise their voices over you. And sometimes being too friendly doesn't win you respect. It invites exploitation. Being friendly is a beautiful trait. It means you're warm, approachable, and open-hearted. But when friendliness becomes people-pleasing, it stops being a strength. There's nothing admirable about sacrificing your self-respect just to make others comfortable. You can't keep giving pieces of yourself away to everyone and expect to stay whole. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves your kindness, and not everyone values your softness. Some people will see it as weakness. Some will use it as an open door to walk all over you. Think about it. How many times have you smiled through disrespect, laughed off hurtful comments, or said, "It's okay," when it clearly wasn't? You did it to keep peace, to maintain harmony, to avoid conflict. But in doing that, you slowly taught people that they can get away with treating you any way they want. You let them believe that your patience has no limits, that your forgiveness comes without consequence. And when that happens, your friendliness becomes your biggest enemy. There's a difference between being kind and being a doormat. Kindness is boundaries. It says, I care about you, but I also care about myself. Foolish friendliness says, I'll tolerate anything, as long as you don't leave. That's not love, that's fear. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being alone. Fear of confrontation. But here's the hard truth, being liked doesn't mean being respected. People may like your niceness, but they respect your strength. When you stop trying to please everyone, you start earning real respect. When you stop allowing people to take advantage of your time, energy, and emotions, you start attracting those who truly value you. You'll notice how quickly the wrong people disappear when you stop bending over backward to accommodate them. But don't see that as a loss. See it as clarity. Because losing people who never respected you isn't a loss, it's a cleansing. Being friendly doesn't mean you have to say yes to everything. You can be polite and still firm. You can be kind and still assertive. You can smile and still say, "That's not okay with me." In fact, that's where true confidence begins, when you can be respectful without allowing anyone to disrespect you. The world will often tell you, be humble, be nice, be available, but they forget to mention that being nice without boundaries is self-destruction in disguise. There will always be people who confuse your goodness for weakness. The only way to protect yourself is to learn the power of saying nah without guilt. Saying no doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you aware. It means you understand your limits and you respect your own peace enough not to compromise. Remember this, people don't respect unlimited access. When something or someone is always there, it becomes ordinary. Familiarity breeds comfort, but it also breeds carelessness. That's why you must make your presence meaningful, not constant. You don't have to show up for everyone. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You don't have to keep proving that you're a good person. Your actions, your energy, and your intentions already speak for themselves. It's time to stop over giving in relationships that underappreciate you. Stop initiating conversations with people who never check on you. Stop going out of your way for those who wouldn't move an inch for you. Stop thinking that being friendly means being available 24/7. Your time, your energy, your kindness, they are currencies. Spend them wisely. Because every time you give them to the wrong people, you devalue yourself in the eyes of those who would truly treasure them. When you learn to be friendly with limits, something powerful happens. You stop chasing people, and people start chasing your respect. You stop seeking validation, and you start radiating confidence. You stop begging for appreciation, and you start commanding it. So don't stop being friendly, just stop being foolish with it. Be kind, but discerning. Be generous, but guarded. Be open, but not naive. The right people will never make you feel guilty for having standards. They'll meet you with the same energy you give. Respect for respect, effort for effort, love for love. At the end of the day, it's not about becoming cold or distant. It's about understanding that your heart is valuable and not everyone deserves a piece of it. True kindness shines brightest when it's backed by self-respect. Because when you master the balance between friendliness and firmness, you don't just gain people's affection, you earn their respect. From today, stop chasing validation. Stop trying to please people who wouldn't do the same for you. And most importantly, stop confusing being liked with being respected. Respect isn't built on friendliness. It's built on boundaries, confidence, and self-worth. So step back, know your value, and let people earn the privilege of your time and kindness. Because when you stop being too friendly, you don't lose people. You just lose those who never valued you to begin with.